Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. We're going to be live in the next 2 hours at prisonplanet.tv, simulcasting this Thursday, January 8th, 2009 edition. This attempt to awaken the world population to the overarching world psychological dictatorship that's run by the New World Order. And for the next hour and a half, we're honored to be joined by one of the most sought-after speakers on radio and in person, filmmaker, best-selling author, David Icke, also championship goalie in his own right. Of course, BBC News presenter before his startling Saul on the road to Damascus transformation, literally being knocked off his horse with a revelation. And in the last 15, 16, 17 years, he has spoken to millions of people around the world, and we're honored to have him again for the next hour and a half to talk about the current world economic crisis being engineered and how this is really going to force an even faster awakening to this tyranny. So, David Icke, it is great to have you joining us here from England.
Thank you, Alex.
This is a short segment, but what are some of the things you want to discuss and go over today?
Well, certainly we talk about the financial situation because, for me, what we're looking at is a similar situation to when they have a controlled demolition of a building and the charges go off and you see the flashes. And then, extraordinarily, there's that split second when nothing seems to happen. And then the whole thing crashes. And for me, where we are in this economic engineered collapse is in that split second before the whole thing starts to collapse. And, when you think that within that split second, they have already thrown grotesque amounts of money at the banks. The interest rates in America are basically down to zero. They've just come down in England today to the lowest ever in the history of the Bank of England, 1.5%, and none of it is working. And therefore, when you've thrown all your bullets at the situation and they're not working, and we're not even into it yet to the level it's coming, then we've got a lot of challenges to face. But as you say, Alex, there's a word in Chinese, I think, that means both danger and opportunity. And this is a danger from the system as we perceive it now and through our lives, but it's a wonderful opportunity to change the system.
In the time we have left in this first segment, I want to get your response, since the last time we had you on, to, it's got to be more than 400 articles I've seen. If you Google the term New World Order and put it into the news section, not web, but news, the last time I checked, it was 4,600 news articles, but I only, over the last few months, have read, I know it's more than 300. It's 10 or 15 a day I see without looking. Financial Times of London, Wall Street Journal, Der Spiegel, all the major publications of record of the establishment, the Bilderberg, run of their editor-in-chief, of course, is Bilderberg, Mr. Wolf. Times of London, Financial Times, saying, and now for world government. And they say, we set it up in secret. It's for your own good. We'll save you from the financial collapse when they engineered it. And they go on to say that we're going to pay carbon taxes on all our activities to them. So Kissinger came out this week and said we need to use this crisis for a new world order. I mean, they're really, like you said, emerging, and you've always said, and others have said, at the point of emerging, that is when you know they're finally going for broke, because now they can't cloak it anymore. They've got to come out in the open.
No, there was always a time when what they were doing covertly had to break the surface because they want to change society and the image that they want to change society. So we have to eventually see it in our face, and that's what we're seeing. And of course, those of us like you and me and many others who've been warning about this for so long, it's unfolding in such a blatantly predictable way. This engineered collapse is there as a massive problem through which you offer the solution. And the solutions are the infrastructure we've been predicting all this time, including the World Central Bank. They've not used that term yet, but they will. They're talking about
Actually, they have, David.
Architecture.
Actually, they have mentioned a new World Central Bank. You may have missed it. Stay there. David Icke will be back after this quick break to go over all of this. Please stay with us. We are live, blasting out on the AM and FM dial, simulcasting on global shortwave, the internet at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com, and streaming live at PrisonPlanet.tv. Don't forget the free podcast you can go sign up for free at Infowars.com on the listen page. Okay, David Icke, Continuing, for more than 15 years, you've talked about how the private financial banks would engineer a crisis and then out of that bring in their world government. They have said, as we were getting to before we went to break, at the G20 summit, a new world financial system with a world financial bank where you will pay your carbon credits directly to them. I remember seeing that in the Financial Times of London and other places. They are now moving us towards that. So it looks like their system's imploding and that, they're laying off all these financial workers. That's because they don't need the little bees to gather people's investments. They're now stealing the pension funds. We're now, the West is in negative savings. So they need to destroy the old system to build their new system. Problem, reaction, solution. Break that down for us, David Icke.
Yeah, they're talking in Europe, people like Sarkozy and Gordon Brown, about a new global financial architecture, which is all, of course, all well speak for this centralized financial system that will dictate the whole of global finance from a central point. This is what they've been working towards, and it's important to stress that when people see the banking system collapsing, that they think it's bad for the bankers. Well, it's bad for the bankers who lose their jobs, like you say, the bees. But it's not bad for the people who own the system. And this is the point. The families that we're talking about own the system. So if they owned the National Football League, they couldn't care less if one team beats this team or that team beats another team, because they own the game. They can't lose. So when this bank goes down or that bank goes down or this bank's absorbed by this bank, it doesn't matter to them. What it means is there's fewer names on the doors to deal with. That they own the game, and they're changing the game now to increase the amount of centralized global control that will, by definition, increase dramatically the amount of control over the global population, which is what money's about. Money's a vehicle for control, for suppressing potential, for suppressing choice, for forcing people into doing things they don't really want to do because they have to raise the money to pay the essential bills to the corporations that are owned by the same people that are screwing them financially. So we're reaching a point now where we've gone so far along this road, while people have been watching game shows and watching the soaps and the football, and now it's peeked its head into the public arena where it's in our face, and people are going, where did this come from? Well, it's come from decades and decades, indeed hundreds of years of manipulation to get us to this point. And it's a point of great challenge and great danger in terms of freedom, but it's also a point of great opportunity, because you can ignore something when crazy people like me are going, it's coming. And no, he's just mad, he believes in reptiles, he's mad and all this stuff. But when it's in your face and it's in your daily life, you can't look away anymore. And I'm sure you're finding the same, Alex, that more and more people who were ignoring it before are now going, hold on a second, what can we do about this? So we're moving into a stage where we can actually, those that are challenging this tyranny, this global fascism, where we can actually go to a stage of starting to do something about it rather than just talk about it.
Okay, David, while you were talking, I went into Google and Googled World Central Bank and found hundreds of articles. Here is Newsweek, why we need a Bank of the World. The financial crisis is global and only international central bank can deal with it. Now, already under the IMF, World Bank, Exim Bank, in their own documents, they admit they already are the World Central Bank, but under this, they will set interest rates globally. They will selectively control nations. They will decide how much currency can be issued. You'll still all have your currencies of the world, in their own words. It will just all be regulated and controlled by them, kind of like the national ID card in the U.S. It's the states administering it, but the feds set it up and control the computer systems. So it's really a national ID card tied into a world ID database, but the public thinks it's a driver's license when it's really the real ID. But there is Newsweek for anyone that doubts this, and I could sit here showing people hundreds of these where they are saying not just that they're setting up a world central bank, but that you will pay your taxes on every activity you are involved in on your carbon footprint to them.
Yeah, and the idea is to eventually get rid of all currencies for a simple reason that at the moment, if you go into a store or you want to buy something anywhere and you give them electronic money and the computer says no to your credit card, then at least still just you have the opportunity to say, well, I'll pay cash then. But what they want to do eventually is take all cash out of circulation. So that computer, whoever programs it, decides if and what you purchase. That's the idea of the cashless society which we're hurtling towards, and that's the next phase
and that's
they're
already
looking at beyond where we are now.
And that's already happening. You know, we never
Right.
shop at Walmart here at this office, but I said, hurry up and get me a TiVo so I can record things off TV here at the new office. And the guys went to Walmart without asking me. I don't micromanage them. And my guy called, and because he had a debt, not an unpaid check, but because he had a debt that he hadn't paid, now the credit scores tied in with Walmart and other big stores, they wouldn't let him use that company check because he had bad credit. So we're already going into that system where
Right.
I see him carding 75-year-old men buying cigarettes or beer at the store now, and the corporations admit they're getting us ready to have to show ID to buy and sell, and they're going to have a new world and local sales tax that will also have a database of everything you buy, sell, and do in the name of administering the sales tax.